reminisce the bad stuff sometimes, like the pain, and like tell all these pain stories. And like, okay, we almost like every once in a while you gotta say, okay, let's stop. Let's like you go like, hey, let's change the topic, or let's talk about something fun or something. And we were having fun too, for sure. But it was like bringing up, a lot of our history, because everybody, and she was talking too a lot about her relativity. Uh, like a lot of, the haves and the have-nots, like how growing up, I think her thing she was relating to is where her folks didn't have a lot of money, but they were in education, so she got to go to really exceptional schools, and they tended to be very high income. Everybody in it was very well off because they were very expensive to get into, and I've run into the same stuff. It's like even my kids were, went to public school. I guess one of them still does. Not, I guess one of them still does, but it's a nice one. And so they're around people that have, more stuff, and they're like, they used to like say, we're poor, or something like that. I'm like, well, I guess it's all relative, but you ain't that poor. You're your third iPhone because you lose them. But yeah, pretty sweet. But I do remember that the end, I was so bad off on that. I was pretty broken. But it's like I really started to embrace that, lessening the judgments on myself, and that was like a biggest help. It's like lowering like your stress levels and stuff like that, and it just really just going gentle with you and just being just more forgiving. And what really helps with that whole program too is what I was referring to earlier, like living in your moment, because you have basically an endless supply of nows to kind of forgive yourself for what you just did. That was done. Like you do something 1 second ago. I mean, I'm sorry, it's gone. Now you're not going to be able to tell the judge that, but it is gone. If you want to keep it with it and make it a part of your now, you can. You can drag it in there with you, or you can start bringing in, all these thoughts about what could happen or might happen about your future, and bring that into your moment and just be, whacked out on it. And we all do that. But it's like a little practice of going easy on yourself and, just forgiving what you might call a mishap or something like that. Yeah, just going easy on you. The relativity, yeah. So that's what she was wrapping up, and I thought that was pretty cool because she was making the analogy like her car wasn't cool, and all her friends were driving these, BMWs, Mercedes, and all, and like kids and stuff, in high school. But then they had a big bank. The folks were loaded, and she's pulling up in her clunker. But she was like stoked. She was like a young person that had her own car at a young age, and she was the only girl in her, which is pretty cool. But it was kind of horrible where she had to work. She was in this, in New Orleans, so it sounded pretty gangster. And she was like describing herself, and she was just a cute young kid. And I think she said she had ponytails, and she was serving like at this place cops and hookers and pimps and drug dealers. They were all like hanging out getting donuts or something. And but anyway, she was saying how it wasn't that big of a deal necessarily, because a lot of people have, she was doing like kind of a relativity thing with other people, which tends to not be I think too healthy of a thing usually, almost ever. Judging yourself against others or comparing yourself and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of near impossible, but I think it's like a lot of things. It's like practicing lessening that is good, and it just gets the ego just gets so berserker, that monkey, that bad little monkey. And what we're listening to, this is like background music, is Monkey Mind is a song that I sing with my friend and guitarist, Red Priest. And so I'll play that at the end of the song. And that's synced up with, too, it's like I'd always been very much into the arts. Always drew a lot as a kid. And even majored in it. When I took all the fun creative writing classes, then I switched over to creative arts, and yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I loved having like my own studio at the university, so that was pretty fun. Where you could just go there and just bang it out. And I remember my I could toot my horn, but it's kind of almost like, what was that, Bruce Springsteen, the Glory Days? It's kind of like maybe more like that, but because I really have not done much with my art, I must say. But whatever. A lot of that resorts to a lot of ego stuff too. Monkey mind, the art and ego is very, and the monkey is very synonymous, I think. Anyway, what was I going with that? I totally forgot that one. Oh, art with it. I did. Okay, I could just switch gears to that. The end. Well, it's not really the end. What to say? Okay, next topic. That's my new one. Yeah, so I had a retail shop that I worked, and when I had brain cancer, and then I guess it compiled up. My partner didn't really want to work with me anymore at the time, and wasn't really digging the shop. I can't say I was doing the greatest job of managing the purchasing and all that stuff. And I think I might have been having some seizures in there too. So I suffered from what do they call them? I gotta write this one down as I remember it. Grand Epimal. I mean, not that names matter, but it was the kind of seizure you get where you black out and you fall on the floor and you just start like shaking like crazy, and then you come to, you don't really know what the hell happened, and things slowly like maybe trickle back to you. But yeah, so the end. Why did I bring that up? I didn't even know why I brought that up. But it has been really, really interesting embracing this new group, because it's like you're hearing everybody's going through these different stuff, and it's like I so much wanted to do, because when I was in the hospital, I didn't have anybody that was a GBM, like long-term survivor. Like everybody was pretty much either too messed up to talk and do stuff that was around the hospital, and it was a big hospital. I mean, if you've ever been to MD Anderson, it's like a little city. And then that goes to the other thing. It's like this industry is so geared towards treating the symptoms that I don't know that they really know what to do with you if they cure it. And I don't know that you really cure this stuff, because it's like, how do you cure life? I mean, it's all part of life. Like, cancer is not this, alien, creature. It's a natural occurring thing, but it's also natural for your healthy body to politely ask it to leave. And I think it's like, one of those things, like say you can make the analogy like at a gym where you're working out, like you're making your muscles sore, but it makes you stronger. It could be kind of like that kind of thing. That's like a body's way to kind of keep you in tip-top shape. I don't know. I might be pushing it on that analogy, but yeah, I'm sort of blanking out. But I'm kind of hungover today, so I had champagne and tequila, and it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. And I quit my I don't know if I didn't mention it on this show, but I do carnivore eating. And I've always been really big into, since I got the cancer, I got really big into doing different types of eating styles, because I was reading, hearing different things about people. A lot of us having allergens to different types, like that are very subtle, but it's almost like a toxicity that you're constantly putting into your body. And I also am very convinced on the toxicity of carbs to us, for most carbs, and for sugar for sure. But I mean, most carbs in the body then turn into sugar. Um, Thus, we have a very big percentage of our population that is overweight to obese, because it's just what we eat. Um, and yeah, I got really big into like the evolutionary kind of look at it. Like, so we had as a species just had, I think, like a million or some years, and then evolution of eating a certain way and being migratory, to then, like, what is it, 2 or 3,000 years of us forming settlements. And then as the populations increased, we really started embracing grain, which was for the most part completely unpractical. Like, if you're out hiking and you got a choice between eating a steak and a husk of wheat, nobody was eating wheat. I mean, it just wasn't worth it. So it all went with settlements, that all became a vogue thing. And so we really, as a species, haven't evolved enough to eat certain things. And our body really doesn't know what to do with it, so it kicks it over to save it for later. I also got really big into intermittent fasting, because a lot of this stuff just seemed logic. And I was telling my friend last night that I was reading, like with my right frontal lobe injury, I think it has a tendency to make one a little bit more prone to, I'm not blanking on the word for it. Like, I want to say spontaneous, but it's not that, it's something else. It's like impulse, like where you hear something logical, you're like, really, I get very impulsive that I have to do that. Like, if it makes any real sense to me, I don't care what it is. But I say, yeah, that sounds right. And I'm like really like enjoy conspiracy stuff now. Like, I have the whole thing with like the medical market, but I think some things are real subtle. Like the conspiracy, it's like the conspirators don't really know that they're taking part in it for the most part. I think it's like a game of, what do you call it? Telephone, where somebody whispers in your ear. So we've been taught these things, and these people are just following their thing, and they're trying to do the best they can. I mean, everybody's really trying to work with what they got and maintain their security, safety, and they do some pretty off things to maintain that. But hey, so on that note, I'm going to tell y'all about some goodies we got here at the radio station. This is WHIV 102.3 FM. This is community radio. We honor independent voices. Now I'm just going off the top of my head here, but then I'm about to read the thing. But yeah, so this is like a local radio station. It was also, I mean, part of the duality of the HIV, I think, is also there was attempting to bring more to the public. I guess more of an acceptance and more of an understanding of HIV in our community and so forth. And yeah, so it's kind of a cool thing. Our head guy is a doctor, very smart, creative guy, Mark Elaine. And yeah, so this is, did you know that 102.3 FM WHIV LP New Orleans has been broadcasting for the past 5 years? We are able to honor independent community voices with your support. T-shirts, hoodies, white fanny, they wrote white on it, like white, yeah, this is a white fanny pack, so it kind of pops. And fanny packs, man, I think might be coming back. Serious. And more make for great gifts, or treat yourself. They also note knit caps because it's cold. That's kind of cool. I actually bought the black tank top that and it's so this New Orleans gets so funky with the weather. We get hot and cold from one day to the next. It's strange. But and you forget about it, I think, each year. Because I was noticing one of my friends was like, can the weather just make up its mind? I think it's always kind of like this, isn't it? It can be like freaky cold, and then it's like, hot the next day. Simply Go, but this is back to the paraphernalia and stuff. It's really some cool stuff. The logo is really cool. The HIV, it's like an old school, those classic kind of chrome big microphones, and it's got like lightning bolts kicking off of it. And it's a very black and white um, color scheme to it, or lack of color scheme to it. But it looks pretty sharp. So simply go to whiv.org and click store. That's whiv.org. Thanks, y'all. That always seems a little forced. Thanks, y'all. But and then it goes, we are not a radio station with a mission. We are a mission with a radio station. End all wars. And I always do the obligatory we did a show with, the next show that's coming up after this is Listen to Us. I'm a guest on that show. And that show's all about a brain injury. Like a lot of people have like, auto accidents, assaults, basically it's head trauma. That's the one part of it. And the other part is like the acquired, which is more like me, where if you have like a cancer that affects your brain, I guess a stroke would fall into that. Like any kind of brain damage that's more generated via your body. So it's kind of interesting. I forget why I brought that up, but oh well. So and then on this, I'll go to this because I kind of mixed this up. So anyway, so I'm on chemo now again. I was off of all chemos for like 14 years, and I was just kind of chilling out. I mean, you can hear by me talking how I talk. I'm pretty kind of, I mean, some people, I think, I had a girlfriend back, she didn't think I was too laid back. And she would always like yank on me and stuff. I think I'm kind of laid back. I don't know, I have a different approach to stuff, I'll say that. And, like I don't pay a lot of attention to, like with the cancer, it's like I don't worry about it. Like I was noticing on that Facebook client I was telling you about, one guy that I think has lived longer than me. He was saying 19 years. So I need to kind of track him down and wrap him up some. But I gotta stay with the point or I will de-end it. Yeah, I totally lost that. Let me look at this. Oh yeah. So, okay. So with this new area that I was telling you about, they haven't biopsied it, so they can only go by MRIs. It looks like it's a tube, which I forget the medical term. Like the 4 that I had is called a glioblastoma, but I typically call it a GBM just because it's easier. And so each one of the 1, 2, 3, 4s of cancer that you can get in your brain has, of course, the number to it, and then it has the scientific name, like GBM. But so they think this area, my doctor thinks this is a 2. My dad has this other kind of theory with it. Like in the initial game, we were thinking, oh, maybe this is because it looks, scar tissue and tumor look very similar on MRIs. I guess because it's the congregation of cells or something like that. So that kind of lights it up a certain way. So it's very hard to distinguish scar tissue from an actual tumor. And then so what they do, especially when it's an area that they don't want to just go in and start extracting some of the cancer tissue, which is always a good thing when they can do it, because it kind of helps. Because otherwise you have to drug it out or radiate it. And anyway, so with this thing, I thought I was getting a break. So okay, my treatment now is I take temozolomide. I think I'm saying that right. It's like an oral tablet. And I take it for 5 days, and then for the rest of the month period, then I'm just off of it, but it's basically in your body and all that kind of junk. And then the next month, then you do it for 5 days, and then it's in your body, blah, 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 for the month, and then you keep doing it. So I had misunderstood him saying that he wanted to move it, my doctor, he didn't want to do an MRI, which I don't know why. I mean, it's not But I think maybe he wanted to get some distance. I don't know what. But anyway, so I misunderstood that, thinking, okay, I'm just off everything until he was saying 8 weeks. It would be my next MRI. And so I was like, ah. So then I go out. So yesterday on Valentine's in the morning, the nurse calls me and she goes, "How did the blood work go?" Or something like that. And I was like, I didn't get any blood work because I had to go and give blood. They have to make sure that all my numbers are looking good before they just dump me on another treatment of the chemotherapy. So I totally blanked out because what they do, it's just kind of weird because I don't know, it's like an insurance thing or something, but they mail it. They mail me they mail me my like instructions. Like they have like a sheet of paper that says, "Hey, you go get blood," and it has this stuff. So I go to like a blood place and I hand them the sheet, and they know who to send it to, and blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so I just found out I'm back on it, and it looks like it's gonna like really sit. I mean, not that I'm really that crazy into Mardi Gras, but happy Mardi Gras, everybody. After you've done, I guess, 20 Mardi Gras. But I mean, it's cool. It is cool. Anyway, the moral of that story. Oh yeah, so now I gotta do chemo again, and it's like so now I gotta do this blood work, I guess, next when I do chemo. So I was thinking I was getting a dodgeball on it, I was getting out of it, but I'm not. But the chemo's not really that bad, but boy, you gotta take that anti-nausea stuff with it. I kind of was a little ditzy last time I got it, and I didn't get the thing, and it was so stupid because the new anti-nausea stuff that I take is so tiny. There's like these tiny little pills, and I'm almost like, that's like not doing squat. But so stupid. But anyways, because when I did my other chemos when I had a GBM, they were like horse pills, but that was like the kind of chemotherapy where they put you, the IV or whatever thing, and you're like there for like 3 hours just getting pumped full of toxic stuff. And but yeah. So anyway, so I didn't take that thing, and man, I got so sick. I was like vomiting every 10 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that. Like it was like it started at nighttime and it went all the way until the morning. It was like exhausting. I almost made like a pallet in my bathroom. Like you're sick and you're drunk. And yeah, that was brutal. And then the next day I just went out and made sure I got that anti-nausea. But then that goes to the other thing. I'll try and keep it on point. But my dad was bringing up a really interesting thing. Like I was telling you all that, okay, the chemo that I went on, then once I went through the protocols at MD Anderson, I did radiation and I did I didn't complete temozolomide, but I did some of that there too. And I guess I did another surgery there. And then at the end of my run of radiation, they did an MRI of me, and my tumor had gotten worse. It was bigger. The areas of it that were, I guess, dense and fours were larger. And the head doctor, who I totally liked, like I was making that point, but he was always giving me kind of like the worst news. He's like, it's worse. Your tumor's gotten bigger. And that's like I was telling y'all about the 6 months. Like I was right in line kind of with that, being it. And that doctor was about to start a new protocol. It was a chemo cocktail. It was 2 different chemotherapy medications they were combining together on the treatment. It was a Avastin and CPT-11. And it was, I'm going to say, pretty gross. But so I went so I'm in Houston, and he's saying, it looks really, really bad. And he was about to do this protocol, but he was doing it like in another month or something like that. And he was like, I don't think you have a month. At this, what I'm seeing here from based on your MRI from the last one to this one, but he knew one of his former colleagues that was back, ironically, back in like basically New Orleans on the West Bank, that was doing this protocol. So I jumped into it, and my dad was telling me yesterday, which I totally forgot, that I was on that chemo for 1 year, and he was claiming that I was the only person. Like, I didn't know anybody else that had completed, but I didn't know any numbers. But he's claiming, I don't know how true these numbers are. Maybe they're embellished. But he said out of 150 some people that I was the only person to complete the protocol. And then eventually when I finished that chemo, I did MRIs with my doctor, and everything just looked kind of the same. Thus, the scar tissue, I guess, goes back to that aspect of it. So it clearly was all, lit up. Like, I had basically what looks like a kind of black squiggly thing on my right frontal lobe, and then all around it there's all these kind of white, kind of swirly thing. Looks kind of very spooky, very, like wisps of white around a black area. And that's basically scar tissue, as I understand it. Knock on some wood. But, so my dad was making the thing that back in the day when he was doing stuff with leukemia patients, that leukemia had very much the same rap as the GBM does with our turnaround on the survival rate. And what he was saying, what they learned, was that they had to increase the dosage, they had to increase the duration of the treatments, and that they had to embrace that the patients were going to get pretty sick. And then once they kind of embraced that as like kind of the new protocol, that they started to see the success rate on leukemia greatly increase. And like where that parallels with me is because at that chemo cocktail that I took, that quote was the only person that finished it, because it was just really nauseating. And I always tell everybody, I cheated. I couldn't have made it through. I lied and I cheated because I thought I was going to die if I got off of it. So I would hide a waste paper basket and I'd sneak throwing up, and I'd tell the doc and everybody else that I wasn't getting sick. And yeah, but my dad was making the point that they're starting to do some of that. Like I noticed the temozolomide that I took at MD Anderson, they now jack that dosage up a lot, and like this doctor kind of wants me on it for maybe a year, he was saying, which I don't really want to do it. I mean, this stuff's kind of noxious, but I also don't want to die, right? But my dad was making an interesting point. He's kind of holding out a little bit of thought that maybe this area that's over my brainstem is actually all scar tissue. That it's just kind of a late blooming scar tissue. That he was kind of saying that my brain was completely, saturated in this, on that toxic chemo stuff. So it would have killed everything that was similar to it. And since my GBM showed that it didn't, it basically got taken out by that. Knock on wood again, but yeah, I mean, like, the problem with the GBM is they kind of keep coming back and all that stuff. A lot of that stuff I didn't know, and so it's always kind of creepy to hear it. But yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to stay, very grateful and very in my moment with it, and it's pretty good. Like the guy that I was hearing about that was 19 years out, he was kind of saying that he's like every day he's real paranoid about it coming back. But I like to kind of ponder this one too. It's about, like the journey of life and stuff is maybe about embracing some of our death in a way, like making peace with that, like it's kind of a part of the process. But I also then in the same breath, I kind of think that awareness kind of thing, that we can listen to your monkey mind, is more like kind of an eternal thing. And I also like the rap too, that you are life. So your being is just, it's kind of just where it's at, regardless of this this death thing and the body going away. You are life. But I think what we might do is switch over and play my song. I gotta learn how to play this on guitar so I can just like strum on this. Gotta get ready to teach me. But I like how it's kind of meditative and repetitive. Anyway, the song's about monkey mind. It's basically about kind of like loving your monkey mind, I guess. Have I just been preaching all against that? And now I'm like, see if I can work this phone. I got a new phone here. There we go. So. A life-size toy, it was a monkey. When I'd squeeze it, made a cute sound. Hey, monkey, hey, I want you to love me. Hey, I wanna love you when I feel you, you my monkey. So mean and cruel, but you're mine, all mine. My little monkey. Oh. Oh, thank you. Wearing a suit and fedora, sits in a bar. To the bartender. To the chimpanzee. 2 penguins. I wanna love you when I feel you, you my monkey. So mean and cruel, but you're mine, all mine, my little monkey. Welcome. Watch out, those goddamn monkeys bite, I tell you. Bite me. I want you to bite me, monkey. I don't really care, you not mine, all mine. You with me all the time.
Snow monkeys. You seen them the other night?
I didn't see that. You? But we ain't one. That monkey, that monkey, that monkey, that monkey man.
See the stadium filled.
People running for the exits.
The snow monkey's coming.
All right, y'all. Y'all love yourselves and take care. Okay, I'm gonna fade this out. And then you're about to hear the incredible Red Priest and listen to us live. Huh, I don't hear that playing, dude. Autoplay. Whoa! How about that for a transition there?
Not bad at all.
That was a thump.
Just dial up stupid Cupid and you'll be right on time.
And